Hello, my name is Dan Fouts, and I'm here presenting on the question, how can philosophy help students manage uncertainty? I'm a high school teacher in the Chicago suburban area. Been teaching high school there for 30 years, and U.S. history, government, and I also have a philosophy elective that I've been teaching for the last 12 years. So I come to this from the experience of a classroom teacher having to deal with kids coming into our classes, especially the philosophy classes, who are often very uncertain to begin with. In fact, that might actually draw people to philosophy, strangely enough. It's an important question, though. So I'm going to walk us through just a couple ways I deal with this question in my own classes, and then we'll just go from there. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is actually an organization that I work on outside of teaching that is actually partnering with the PLATO organization. It's called Teach Different. And in that organization, I have developed, along with my brother, who's also has a philosophy background, a discussion protocol that we use to help students manage uncertainty. It invites uncertainty. And so I just wanted to talk a tiny bit about this protocol. It starts with a quote, a short provocative quote, and then you have the kids explain the claim of the quote, essentially agree with the claim, and then they disagree with the claim. They give a counterclaim, and they provide their personal experiences throughout their explanations. And so in this way, this protocol actually engenders uncertainty because you have the kids disagreeing with each other and themselves about a short quote. And then they ask questions throughout the discussion. So I use this probably once every 3 weeks as a way to engage the kids in a quote related to a theme in either my government or philosophy class. And so the kids are constantly grappling with issues and they're being uncertain. And so I guess why I'm bringing this up is that one way to help kids manage uncertainty is for them to become accustomed to it. And you can do that through things like discussion protocols. And so that works really well for me. Also, the other thing I wanted to mention was a final project that I do in philosophy where they take the 4 questions of the course. I organize the course by these 4 philosophical questions. And at the end of the semester, the kids develop their own final project in which they answer the 4 questions of the course for themselves. So the strategy here is not to get them used to uncertainty, like with the classroom discussion protocol, but here it's to actually come up with an answer to the questions to shape their own life. And I think that's important as we help them manage uncertainty too, to get them used to thinking, I can have an answer to this. It might not be a perfect answer, but it's where I am situated right now as a 17 or 18-year-old in high school. Here's how I would answer this, and here's how I would defend my answer. Here's what I've learned in the course. I found this to be a great way to end the semester on a high note, where you really get the kids to make philosophy something personal to them. So the project format, I allow them just about anything. They can do a live presentation. They can write something, which is fine. I've had kids write amazing papers. They can do artwork. As long as they address the 4 questions of the course and come up with answers to those questions, I'm good with just about any format. I wanted to just share a couple examples to give you a window into what the kids can come up with. This was a great one, definitely memorable, where a student decided to do face art to answer the different questions of the course. And she did this at home and then presented this to class. And she came to class actually with face art on as well. It was so compelling and powerful. And it really, just by looking at her art and her listening to her presentation, she really internalized the course. And I felt that she was coming up with answers to the questions of philosophy. And I mean, that's what it's all about. Here's another one that I thought was really good. A student liked the quote method that we've been using, so she found quotes that addressed the 4 questions of the course, and she put those quotes in these medicine cases. And she said that as she walks throughout her life and she needs inspiration or a pick-me-up or some wisdom and perspective, she will go into her medicine cases and pick out quotes that she had hand-selected that reflect her philosophy of life. So that way she keeps philosophy close to her. I thought this was an ingenious way of coming up again with resolutions to the questions of philosophy. And then lastly, this was done by a student who wanted to do a dictionary, laying out words that were important and what those definition of words were for the student. Personalized it. This student stood in front of class, distributed the dictionary, and then walked the class through an explanation of why the student chose the definitions that they chose. It was so powerful. And as you can see, just reading a few of these, I could not believe that a 16-year-old student came up with this dictionary, and no one else did it. It was completely unique to this student, which is what the final project is all about. So those are the 2 things: classroom discussion protocol to get them with practice on uncertainty, and then this final project to help them come to some sort of resolution with the questions of philosophy. And then I always like to end it this way with the final project: be yourself, everybody else is already taken. To convey the idea that kids, whatever they answer, however they answer the questions of philosophy, they own it. And that's what's really important. So that's what I got. If you want this final project or information about the classroom protocol, as I mentioned, Plato has a partnership with Teach Different, and that we provide different classroom discussion plans to people who are in the Plato organization. Feel free to email me and I'll get in touch with you. Thank you so much.